The following is a production of Boiling Springs, Upstate Prepcast.
Good evening. Welcome into another edition of Real Talk with Coach Matt Real. Tom Dixon with Ken Walter. Behind the scenes of Todd Waddell. And Coach, coming straight off of practice, game against Norman the other night didn't turn out the way we wanted it, but took some positives out of there, I'm sure.
No, it was a rough night, but there's always positives you take away from it. We had some guys that had to step in and play due to some injuries we had that I thought Zion Bob stepped in and on the O-line and did a really good job for us. It was good seeing that, good seeing him out there. Defensively, I thought the second half, you go into halftime down, 20, and you got two choices. Your kids either step up and they man up and go out and they compete, or they go out and lay down and it gets really, really bad. And I think we did a really good job defensively, just competing, just showing up, forcing stops. Didn't let them score until I think late in the fourth quarter when they actually scored again. We just couldn't get offensively. We just couldn't get going, and we couldn't, score any points and put pressure on those guys. And that's hard as a defense whenever, you're going back out there and going back out there and going back out there. So I told the guys, man, my hat's off to them for how they played in the second half. Just had some missed tackles and things in the first half that really hurt us. We also had, 4 starters didn't play and 6 or 7 guys overall that didn't play that obviously are really good players for us and helps us in some areas. So, there's a lot that you can take from it. And like I said, man, we got to refocus and get ready for another region game this week to keep our hopes alive for the playoffs and to keep our hopes alive for the highest finish that we can have. I told the kids, you win out, you're probably going to host a home playoff game. If you end the season 7-3, you win against Spartanburg and Burns, which would be huge, just in the history of our program, beating those guys. But it sets us up for hopefully some success after the regular season. And I told them today, I said, if you'd asked me, back at week 0, would I rather be hot to start the season than kind of limp in or struggle into the last part of the season, or kind of struggle through, the first 5 or 6 weeks and then be the hottest team in the state going into the playoffs? I'd take that second one. So that's our goal, and it starts this week. And I told them it's every day. It's an everyday, job, and the only thing we can do is control the moment we're in. So that's where we're at right now.
Yeah, well, I'm glad you mentioned that. We talked about the positives coming out of the game. Obviously, it was a lopsided, score. But you're right. They scored 20. We were down 20 real quick, and then they didn't even smell the end zone again until fourth quarter. So the defense didn't roll over and play dead. They fought. If we could have found a way to move the ball some, we could have got back into it. But, in many years past, we could have just rolled over and got beat by 60 because it was snowballing early in defense. Then they kind of bowed their neck and showed what they're made of. And, had the positive come, they didn't quit.
No, and the first play that they ran from scrimmage, we had the guy dead to rights on the sideline. We just missed the tackle, and then it ends up being a touchdown. The next touchdown they score, we hit the running back in the backfield, don't make the play, he bounces it outside and goes and scores. So it's the old adage of you didn't make the play, so that is what it is. But we're also in position to make the play, and we just got to finish that. And that's been, that's the whole thing. Is every week you got to tackle well, and you got to make people not tackle well. You got to block guys up front, and you can't get blocked up front. It's the simple things in this game. When it comes down to wins and losses, that 99% of the time when you look at those things, the people that do those things really well are going to be the ones that are successful.
Yeah, and I know you mentioned we had 4 guys that didn't play, starters that didn't play to start the game, and we had some injuries during the game. I guess we're still kind of banged up coming out of that. It's only been a few days, but how do we look going into this week practice-wise? And we got Wade Hampton coming to town. And, you can't take any team lightly. So we got a home game here and playoff implications on the line.
No, we're still beat up a little bit. We should be able to get a few guys back this week based off what we're seeing. And there's going to be a couple guys that might be a game time decision. We still got a few that we know we're not going to have this week. So other guys got to step up, man. And that's, why they do what they do 12 months out of the year. Just like Zion, hadn't got to start all year. Had limited reps, and I thought he did a great job coming in, competing, giving us what he had. Just some really good things that we saw from our guys that have been, not given maybe those opportunities in pressure moments that I was really pleased with. And, it's going to carry into this week. I told him, I said, look, man, if you're here every day, you do your job, then we're going to reward you for that. So, our guys are resilient. We've got some things we haven't, we never really had like a rash of injuries since I've been here. Just some weird stuff, that's going on right now. And we've kind of changed up a little bit of our pre-practice routine and our weight room stuff to address, some of the things that kind of keeps popping up right now. So hopefully that's going to pay off for us in a couple of weeks. It's not going to happen immediately, but hopefully over the course of, 14 days, that stuff will start helping with some of the stuff we're doing too. And, sometimes you just got to be tough, man. Sometimes you're banged up. Sometimes, you're hurt, but you're not injured. And we talk about that as well, is there's a difference. And
There's a
just,
difference.
when you're not allowed to go and we have to take care of everything, that's fine. We're going to do that. But if it's, I can go, I just got to grit it out, then that's what we want our guys to do. That's what we try to, preach in our group and our team, is just, be tough, fight through things. We're going to take care of you as much as we can, but there's a part of grit, in this game that you got to have. And I think for the most part we do a good job of that. But obviously some of the injuries we have right now, that has nothing to do with it. There's legitimate injuries, and we're having to, take care of guys and get them back through certain protocols, just to make sure that they're safe and we're doing all the things we need to do to take care of them.
Coach, you and I talked at halftime, and you challenged your team at halftime, and I thought they came out and responded. That first drive, we made Dorman punt. We got the ball on our own side of the field. We made a first down. Isaiah Johnson made a good run.
Yep.
Pick up the first down. And then we had a weird play. And I don't want to concentrate too much on any individual plays, but this was kind of a weird play. We fumbled the ball, and they were not going to award the fumble. All the officials moved back up to where the previous spot was, and then they decided it was going to be a fumble, and nobody had marked where the ball was. I don't know if you picked up on that in your film or anything. And they ended up, I don't know if they guessed. I don't know how they figured out where that ball mark was going to be. But that kind of turned a little bit of momentum, because we had some good momentum going up to that point. They ended up giving Dorman the ball. I think they still ended up missing the field goal, but it just turned the momentum that you were trying to key off of on that halftime speech.
I will say this: there are certain things that happen within the games I have no clue why it happens. Some of them are rule related, some of them are interpretations, and you just kind of roll with it. You ask for clarity, and sometimes you get it, sometimes you don't. So. That's just kind of it's part of it.
I don't want to beat the officials, because we did enough of that.
Consistency is what we're looking for. A similar play against Gaffney, they got a do-over. And then against Dorman, we're going to spot it down here. It's just there was inconsistent interpretations of the rule of a similar type of play.
Yeah, but my concern more out of all that was, Coach Reel had really challenged his team. They had responded. They got the stop they needed. They got the ball back. Isaiah Johnson made that first down run where, maybe getting some momentum. Yeah. And then all of a sudden this weird play happens. The look on the players were like, what's happening? Coach Reel's on the sideline. He's got no clue what's happening, because the officials aren't communicating really well. And then here they go, and they got the ball back, and it just deflates us at that point. I don't think it deflated us for the whole half, but just that.
No, but there's a handful of plays every game where if it goes your way, you may go down and score, and then it changes the momentum. Or if it goes against you, that's the straw that breaks the camel's back as far as the momentum and making the play and all that. And, the week before, I told you guys there was like 10 plays where I'm having in my mind to decide on third down, if we don't convert here, are we going to kick a field goal, are we going to punt, or are we going to go for it? And we literally converted every single third down. So I literally looked like a genius the whole game because I had 0 hard decisions to make. Our guys made all the plays. I don't think we punted the whole game. And those games make things really easy for you. And then Friday night, you just struggle, man. And your kids are really trying to make plays, and your coaches are trying to dial up the perfect play to get those guys in the right spot, take advantage of the things we're seeing, and then something happens, and it just kind of, like you said, it takes the air out of your sails. And that's hard, man. But that's also, what we talk about all the time with our guys is that's life, that's adversity. How do you respond to it?
Yeah, football's kind of a fickle game. I mean, the week before last, we had a pretty dominating performance against Eastside, everything going our way, and then this past week, we're struggling against Dorman, and Eastside's giving Gaffney all they want. It's a 40-35 final, so each week, the teams have to, handle what's going on for that particular game against that particular opponent, and you can't take anything for granted. And you're right, sometimes it's the ebbs and flows of the momentum. Tough region.
Yeah.
And got another tough one coming up. We're finally going to be back home for the first time in a while, as we're going to be hosting the Generals from Wade Hampton, and other, playoff implications on the line. We're going to have some guests coming here in just a minute. We're going to take us a quick break, come back, and visit with our players of the game from last week. We'll be right back.
Have you been hurt by church? Have you maybe lost your faith or lost your way? We understand that at View Church because we've been there. If you're looking for an authentic place to worship with authentic people that understand brokenness, we would love for you to come and be our guest sometime. We have 2 services at 8:30 and 11, and we're located at 5555 Pierce Bridge Road in Bowling Springs. Come, find hope again.
All right, back here, Real Talk with Coach Matt Real. We got a couple of guests with us tonight. Our offensive and defensive players of the game. Guys, y'all had a great game the other night. Came out on the short end of the score, but, still some positive there. These 2 gentlemen here are the ones that choose the player of the game. I'm not allowed to. So, But first one, the offensive player of the game, Isaiah Johnson. Johnson came back, did some good runs for us. Gave us a scare week before last. I don't mind telling you, it gave us a scare, but I'm glad everything worked out and you were able to come back and put some quality play in against a very tough Dorman team. Give us some of your thoughts on, your prep for the game, and during the game, what was going through your mind?
What was really going through my mind was how aggressive we was coming out. I felt like we could have been more aggressive, against them, because if we would have ended up on top. But I know that I had some mess ups, some miss holes and all that, but I did what I had to do, tried my best to really help out the team.
Yeah, and you've been doing that all season. You can see each week you're getting more comfortable out there, and you're getting more confident. When they hand you the ball, you know what you're wanting to do with it. And a lot of times when people come in like their first year, can I do this, as opposed to I'm going to do this. And you're definitely running with a lot of confidence, and we need to keep that up. You did a great job. Even against a very tough Dorman defense, you ran with confidence.
Thank you.
And got to keep that up. We got a big game this week against Wade Hampton. What's your preparation thought process for Wade Hampton? Going to be at home now in front of the home crowd.
My thought process is keep doing what I'm doing, probably be a little more aggressive, read my holes this time, hit the hole a little better, and hit my head on the goalpost.
There you go.
Oh, okay. All right. Now we're talking.
That'll do it. Coach, I know you want to have to replace the goal, but he hit hard enough just to have to tear it down.
Isaiah's been really good for us. He came here this summer, and immediately, it's hard. It's hard, moving somewhere new.
Yeah.
And, trying to fit in and trying to be a part of something, and especially with guys that have been together for 3 and 4 years, what's your role, what's your fit? And man, it's like he's been here 3 or 4 years with us. He's a great kid, respectful, works hard, does all the things that you want to do. He's got a coach that's in his family who pushes him really, really hard. And from my perspective, I love it. Because there's so much of the things you want to put into these kids outside of the field. He's getting all that, and whether he realizes it or not, he's really, really blessed to have that. But he's done a great job for us. He's done a great job too with special teams. I mean, the 2 weeks ago, he had 2 big plays on special teams, 1 a big tackle and 2 onside recovery that it was kind of not expected, right in the middle of a game. So he's done a great job for us. He's getting a little bit better every week. He's starting to, I think, see things a little bit better every week, and we're excited to have him here. We're excited too that we got him for 2 years, not just he comes here for 1 year and then we don't have him anymore. So just really been pleased with him and how he's went about the process, and has really bided his time within the process, and now that he's getting his opportunities, he's making the most out of them.
Yeah, I think they say the game's slowing down for him because he's seeing it a lot quicker now. So that's obviously key. And again, playing with confidence. Did a great job for us. You have all season. We're looking for more out of you this week.
I got you.
All right, so we got the offensive player of the game. These two guys, like I said, said you were the outstanding offensive player of the game against Dorman. I'd like to present that with you. Turn that around, let them. There you go.
There you go.
And now we're going to go over to the defensive side of the ball. Defensive player of the game champion Floyd had a great game, called your name a lot. You were definitely making your presence known out there on the defensive side of the ball against, again, a very good Dorman offense with some big running backs. Tell us about that game there.
Coming into that game, it was a lot. We had a big rivalry game going against, like you said, a good Dorman offense. We just want to come in hard and aggressive and to get the play, like get stuff going, like. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and that's a big arena you play in. Anytime you go down to Dorman, that's probably the biggest stadium you're going to play in high school. I mean, they're very blessed down there with their facilities. And, coming out on the field, playing against a team like that, you got to get excited about it. And, not a lot of players get to say that they played in this region and competed in this region. The atmosphere there, how'd that make you feel playing in an atmosphere like that?
It felt good. Coming in the game, I didn't know it was gonna be the biggest stage we played, but my dad had shown me just the seats and how many people were on there and seeing it was gonna broadcast on television and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But I just played how I played and just going there, don't let it control me. Keep a calm mind going to the game.
You just put the blinders on and again play with confidence. And I think Coach Anderson said y'all play rude on defense, and
yes, sir.
Had to play rude, especially against a team like that. Got a big game coming up this Friday night against Wade Hampton. They're coming to your house now, so your mindset going into this Friday's game.
Going this Friday, just want to carry the momentum from Dorman game and just come in there and punch him in the mouth first thing we get there.
I like it.
Just don't hit your head against the goalpost because we only have two, and he's going to take one of them out.
If you do a scoop and recovery and score, you hit your head all you want.
All right.
Well, again, for the Dorman game, you were the outstanding defensive performance on Friday night versus Dorman. I want to present that to you. Did a great job. Looking for another great job this Friday night against Wade Hampton.
All right.
Thanks, guys. Thanks for being
Appreciate it, guys.
Congratulations, man.
Thank you, Coach Real.
Going to take another break, come back, and kind of talk about Wade Hampton a little bit. We'll be right back.
Hey, baby! Wings Etc. now offers online ordering. Use your smartphone, tablet, or computer. Visit togo.wingsetc.com. It's fast, it's easy, it's convenient, and you can order all your favorites exactly the way you like them. That's togo.wingsetc.com for a direct connection to all your favorites. Wings, ribs, burgers, wraps, salads, ultimate nachos, and more. Order what you love, and it'll be ready for pickup before you even know it. Online ordering at Wings Etc. Well, click, then go.
Wings Etc. 2644 Bowling Springs Road in Bowling Springs.
Derek Henry.
Hey, Jake from State Farm. I saved so much bundling, it inspired my workout. Auto! Home!
Okay, and this is Auto again, right?
Auto!
Hey, this is my living room.
Home!
Bundling, just another way to save with the personal price plan.
The dog isn't allowed on the couch, Derek.
Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
Call Agent Chad Wagner, Asheville Highway, Spartanburg, 585-7999.
Back here at Real Talk with Coach Matt Real. And, Coach, big game coming up at home against Wade Hampton. I know we got some guys injured, but, the next man's got to step up. Game plan for these guys because every game going forward we've got to have it.
Yeah,
it's playoff time.
Oh yeah, well, and it's the same every week. There is no differences. I think people may look at our schedule and think, well, this week's a bigger game than this week. They're all the same.
They all count.
They all have. You may have bigger teams or whatever it may be. Just going back to whenever it was just, our region was just those bigger 5A school. I think that's the mindset that everybody has is they only look at the Gaffney, the Burns, the Spartanburg, and the Dorman games. Well, the other 3 are just as important, as far as, getting to the playoffs, 1. And then, 2, like I would love to be able to host a home playoff game. We had an opportunity last year and we lost the last game of the year to Burns. If we win that game, we host. If we didn't, we traveled, and it worked out. But, just to be able to have this community to have a home playoff game, for our kids to have a home playoff game, for these guys on staff that, were here the last time that there was a home playoff game, to be able to be the staff that does it again, I think there's a lot to that. So, this week I told our kids, I said, this week Wade Hampton is the most important game on our schedule because it's the next game on our schedule. And Wednesday's practice is the biggest day of our year because it's the next day of our year. And that's kind of, I'm trying to get them to understand that every day we can only control that day. You can't control Monday, you can't control Wednesday, you got to control Tuesday. And then tomorrow it's the same. I got to control Wednesday. And we're starting to get there a little bit more than what we have been. But it's just every week, man. It's important. And 2, like, every week before this has been important because we're so young. We have really good players, man. And we're down a few really good players right now that are injured. But it's just those guys that haven't played on Friday nights having to understand, and you don't understand until you're in the moment.
Right.
Like our group last year as seniors were in that moment for 3 years before they had that 7-win season.
Yeah.
They went through the growing pains. They went through the good, the bad, the ugly.
They did.
They went through it all. And, I was told, and I was, doing some research, and Bobby Bowden, who people may or may not know, but longtime coach at Florida State, really successful. He was talking to other coaches. He said, you're going to lose big, you're going to lose small, you're going to win small, and you're going to win big. And he said, that's the process that you go through when you take over a program, whenever you're rebuilding a program. Not very many times do you go somewhere and have success immediately unless it's been a successful program before you got there, and all that stuff's in place and all, so we've like that group last year went through that. They lost big, they lost small, they lost, they won small, then they won big, and they went from one end of the spectrum to the other.
They did.
Before we got to that 7-win season. So it's not like this group is going to just roll in here having, again, I think we had 4 starters that came back, and out of that, like those 4 starters are the only guys that saw playing time on Friday nights last year.
Right.
So we're not talking about a group that we brought back 20 guys, 5 starters, but then 15 guys that were players. Like we're just really, really young. So, and people say, well, that's just an excuse. Well, you can take it that way, but there's also a process of them understanding how to prepare and what the preparation looks like. As JVs, they were 9-0, and they were just a lot better than a lot of people. So the preparation didn't have to be amazing, and they could still go out and have success. Well, that barometer changes really fast whenever you translate to Friday nights. And a lot of our guys now are starting to understand and see when we prepare really well, we usually play really well. And the weeks that we don't prepare well, we don't have our best practices, we don't have the greatest energy, we don't have the greatest focus, typically on Friday nights you have a lot of mistakes. And that's just, that's the part of the maturation process, and that's my job, that's our coach's job, to make sure that we're handling all that every single week. But, I think our guys are starting to understand that. And the more we put them into the fire, the more that they have to respond in pressure situations, the more they're going to be able to do that consistently as we keep moving into this.
Coach, coming in with Wade Hampton, and like you said, it's a tough region, and this is the next game. It's just as important. And we just saw on the college level, Penn State got upset by a team they kind of expected to blow out. Your players know they have to be prepared. Coach Wright over at Wade Hampton, he's over there today telling his players, we can win this game if you prepare right. Pretty much the same thing you're telling your kids. And so we know they're going to come in well coached and run their offense, run their defense. What kind of schemes are we looking at on Wade Hampton?
Well, to me, when you're in that position, you have nothing to lose. Nobody's picking you to win, so what does it matter?
Right.
You go shoot your shot, and if it works, you're the greatest in the world for that day.
That's right.
Yeah. And if it doesn't work, then everybody says, well, that's what we expected to happen. So they have nothing to lose. And Coach Wright does a great job. He coaches those guys really well. There's some good things they do on film. They got guys that are having to play both ways, obviously.
Right.
it's just hard, you know. They're doing what they can. I tell our kids, man, they're going to come here and they're going to play hard. It ain't like they're just going to show up and say, all right, here it is. Like
Sure.
you watch them against Burns, you watch them against Riverside, you watch them against Spartanburg. Like there's some things that they do where there's a couple of things. If it doesn't go that way, they could have, be in a 14-7 game or be in a 7-7 game, and then the momentum goes in different directions. So we have to come out and win the game. And by what I say by that is you have to go out and make the plays. You can't just go out and expect whatever to happen. And I told them Monday, I said, one year I was at North Myrtle, and we were playing Darlington that week. And Darlington hadn't won a game in 2 years. And everybody said North Myrtle by 40, North Myrtle by 40, and that's all the kids heard. And our week of practice was not very good. And we were a good football team. I think we went to the second or third round that year in the playoffs. We were a good football team. But we went to Darlington and we lost. And it was probably the worst loss I had as a head coach. And I was embarrassed, and I was all these different things, but I was more just upset because we didn't prepare that week. And we didn't do all the things you have to do to win a football game, no matter who you're playing, no matter what the spread is, no matter what everybody thinks is going to happen. You still got to go win the game on Friday. And that's the message right now is we still got to prepare, we still got to focus, we still got to get better. We're also 3-3. It ain't like we're 8-1 where you can kind of sit back and relax. Like we should be like we're that boxer that's in the ropes right now, and we got to fight our way out of this. And that's just got to be our mentality right now. We got to, expect it, take it, and then we got to dish it back out. And our guys are going to do that. I really believe we're going to respond this week. We're going to play really well Friday night. And we're going to give ourselves a chance to run the table these next 4 weeks.
Yeah, Wade Hampton. I mean, they're looking at the schedule and they're trying to figure out, okay, where can we get a win? And if we're sitting here at 3-3, the players are probably circling this game, thinking, if we prepare and we go out and we run our show, we can pull off the upset on this. And so, your players, even though you don't have much experience, it's part of athletics. I mean, you got to prepare, you got to come, you got to run your offense, you got to run your defense, you got to make your assignments. Just like the players were just talking a minute ago, they're going to come out. I want to hit them in the mouth. I mean, that's the kind of attitude you got to have. You can't just assume you're going to walk out with the win. You got to go through and do the details.
100%.
Yeah, again, you talked about that. This you can't replicate Friday night's on practice on Tuesday or Wednesday or even Thursday. You've got to get them kind of in the fire on Friday nights, and coming off of a game like that against Dorman away, now you're back at the Dog Pound. You do have a team coming here. Got to get them up and get them ready because, again, after Wade Hampton, you got another home game with Spartanburg, and they're going to come over and try to really put it to us. So it's got to build with that momentum. The next 4 games are key, setting up for playoffs.
I think the hardest thing that you want to replicate as a coach is that Friday night good versus good, as much as possible in practice. And we have those periods every single day. Offensively, defense today, as soon as we got through with our flex, we went straight into a competitive situation. We had second down plays and then third down plays. And, I think that's really big, and we had a good day today in those situations. So as a head coach, as coordinators, we work together to try and create that environment as much as possible. But, again, that falls on the kids. How do they treat those competitive periods? Is it a buddy system where I'm going to take care of you, you take care of me right here, and let's just get through it, or am I trying to win the rep? And that's what we're trying to preach right now is competition, and really iron sharpens iron. Like if I'm giving you my best as a one and you're getting my best as a one, then we're getting better. And that's the challenge right now.
That's right.
Well, that's the one thing, obviously challenging the team, getting them ready, getting the guys that are banged up a little bit, get them back as quick as we can. And this could be a good game for the guys that are going to be forced into the lineup to get that Friday night experience and realize, hey, I'm at home in front of the home crowd, and we got to make this thing happen.
Yep.
I mean, you just got to prepare, and it started Monday, and, again, tomorrow they got to do it again.
Absolutely.
So game's going to be Friday night here at the Dog Pound. Airtime's going to be 7 o'clock. Kickoff will be at 7:30. Watch out for social media so you can see the links that we're going to provide sometime midday on Friday so you can tune in. If you can't make it out here, please tune in and watch us. And as always, appreciate you tuning in for the Real Talk with Coach Matt Real. Coach, thanks for your time tonight. I know you're ready to get home. You've had a long day and got to come back and do it again tomorrow.
That's part of it, man. This is what I love doing. I wouldn't want to be anywhere else. Then obviously, I told you guys, this ain't, you get to use a little fun little play off my name and all that kind of stuff. But this whole show is about those kids, our program, our coaches, this school, and just promoting those guys. So I'll do that anytime that we get to do it. Just, love being here, love being a part of this program. Like we always say, man, go Dogs.
Go Dogs. We'll see you Friday.